So this video is not clickbait. I've had an amazing trading week last week. You guys saw that I had $40,000 days, $30,000 days, $15,000 days. And when it comes down to trading with more money, of course, there's more risk involved and it's not all rainbows and butterflies all the time. And I love sharing this because, again, this is what my Learn Plan Profit team gets to experience. They get to see both my good trades and my bad trades. Check this out. $23,660.83 is what I lost on coin. Now, again, coin is, in my opinion, it was a very overhyped company. We shorted it on the way down. I made over $100,000 in just 2 trading days because of how much money I was trading with, right? It began showing signs of a support. Today it popped off due to the news. Let me keep this very short and sweet. It got upgraded based off of price targets from different brokerages. So this caused the stock to all of a sudden begin to skyrocket. Now, one thing, this could have been really bad. You might be like, holy crap, 23, 24K. This is insane, Ricky. What were you thinking? First off, I closed my position, and I shared this with my LPP team. During our live trading session, at one point, I was up because my trade was going according to plan. My short was going according to plan. I was up a few $1,000s. I locked in profits. It began to try to indicate signs of an uptrend. I entered the short. It wasn't making the progress I wanted, and I gave back all the profits that I made, and I was slightly in the red, a few $100. With the dollar amount that I trade with, a few $100 is pretty much a break-even day, is almost like what I view it as, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted direction to be more clear. So I reduced my position size, and all of a sudden, it began to rally. I was like, perfect. This thing's overbought. Now I'm going to re-enter my short. I re-entered my short, boom, 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 right? Pulled on back, boom, rallied, right? I had to reduce my position size and cut my losses ultimately. Again, not every trade goes according to plan. And I wanted to use myself as an example where, again, with trading with more money, it doesn't always mean that it yields you a greater return. I normally do a pretty decent job managing my risk. Keeping my losses, my goal is always to keep my losses under $5,000. Today was just not the case. Remy, not right now. I'm sorry, that was my daughter. Yeah, sits please. Today was just not the case. This rally that happened, this news that was announced, it doesn't surprise me. Coin is a very overhyped up company, and there's good things that come with it, and then there's bad things. This is the bad thing when, again, you're entering a short position on something that is very, very risky, especially with what's going on in the next few days. Supposedly from the SEC, Gensler is supposed to announce relatively pretty soon if they're going to approve this or deny this for the spot Bitcoin ETF approval. But I wanted to use myself as an example that, again, not every day goes exactly according to plan. Our job's not to avoid risk. Our job is to manage it. Today just caught me by surprise. There's no reason for me to sugarcoat it. It's, I sized down on my secondary trades when I saw things, were not looking so hot. But then this news was released and it sent the stock flying. If you look from overall lows to overall highs, the range that it moved was nearly 10%, 9.64%. You might be like, Ricky, that's just not even that much money. It is to me. 10%, nearly 10% moved like that. When you're trading with hundreds of thousands of dollars, nearly $1 million, it doesn't take much to give back, all of your gains and then some, right? So from going slightly in the green, sorry about that. So from going slightly in the green to slightly in the red, just like Remy's crying, that's kind of how I felt. Totally kidding, right? I've had an amazing performing week last week, but when you trade risky stocks and when news or catalysts get released, direction can ultimately change against you. Now, I wanted to use myself as an example for this because I didn't want to, for LPP, my LPP team that get to watch me trade live every day, they get to see my good days and my bad days all the time, right? But for people here on YouTube, sometimes, right, I just do recaps and you're like, Ricky, you're always green, what's going on here, right? It's not always the case. I normally am really good at cutting losses and keeping my losses small. So when you trade with $100,000 plus, it's much easier to come back from that, right? Because if you keep your losses small, it only takes one solid trade to go according to plan to make back those losses. And that's what has been going on very well for me for the past few days. Today was just not one of it, but I didn't want to sugarcoat it, wanted to share this with you. As well as NASDAQ. NASDAQ, we announced this during our live trading session today. We were testing the support on the 4-hour moving average, and it pushed up today. I didn't trade SQs. I didn't trade TQs. I was focused on coin today, but I was also really tired from my commute from LA to California as I traveled back from Costa Rica. So it's going to be really interesting to see later throughout this week because we have the CPI data report on Thursday and PPI report on Friday with, if I'm not mistaken, the trade balance report, treasury budget on Thursday as well at 2 p.m. So it's trade balance is tomorrow at 8:30, which is 1 hour before the market opens. So that should be more influential for the overall NASDAQ market. We had a nice bounce. You must have seen all of big tech probably went up today. We're going to see. Are we going to hold above the EMA line, or are we going to break down below, right? Are we going to recover back to previous highs, or are we going to break right back down below to previous lows at that moving average? That's what I'm going to be asking myself, and that's what I'm going to be paying attention to for the next few days. But again, good days, bad days, it doesn't matter. Our job is not to avoid risk. Our job is to simply manage it. If you trade riskier stocks, then obviously it's not going to just potentially yield you a greater return, because I've seen those greater returns for me. $60, $40, $30, $15,000 days. That's great when they go according to plan. But this is part of it. $22,000, $23,000, $24,000 loss is pretty much what I experienced today. And I'm excited to take on the market tomorrow, right? Do not bite down more than you can chew. And this is the beautiful part about scaling into the market is you start small, you make those mistakes with a small amount of money, and then you build up and scale up once you have the experience. And again, we do this every morning right at market open. And if you're an absolute beginner, I'd love to invite you for my live trading session tomorrow. And whenever you feel comfortable tuning on in, it's the second link in the description down below, the one-time payment lifetime access, and you'll get to watch me trade live every single day. I hope that earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.